So, I'm trying to remember what works best for this level here. Probably should go for something long ranged. Although, we have like no sniper ammo, so that's kind of, I don't know. That doesn't seem very useful. So we finally have a new handgun we can buy. I'm not terribly interested though. Takes quite of a while for them to give you like a new handgun that like is actually good. The stun rod I think is okay from what I remember, but yeah, not amazing. Yeah, let's just go. Yeah, that's fine. We'll manage somehow, some way. Wait, that thing said BSAA airboats, so the BSAA actually just has airboats that they drive around Africa? I mean, I guess it makes sense. Just so weird.
Wesker. He was a top official with Umbrella, the leader of our STARS unit. I met him again after the Raccoon City incident on Rockford Island. Since then, we've been trying to track him down. Then a few years ago, we got a tip from a reliable source. The whereabouts of Umbrella's founder, Oswell E. Spencer. So we paid him a visit, hoping he'd lead us to Wesker.
So, I don't know why. When I was a kid, I just thought Wesker was like so anime that I ended up calling him Yu-Gi-Oh boy. I don't know why I chose Yu-Gi-Oh. I never knew anything about anime other than anime was super anime. So I was just like, yeah, no, he looks like Yu-Gi-Oh, definitely. Although really, he looks more like stylish Terminator. So yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh boy is just going to town, sending us to the Shadow Realm, like it's nobody's business. How hard would you have to drag somebody along a table that the entire top of the table just turns to like absolute mush? Like, scene is so weird to me. I like how Wesker's just kind of like rotating a little bit. He's shaking. He's like, "Oh, that's not what I thought would happen." Now I'm falling.
I saw in that data looked like her. I have to know if she's still alive.
You two were close.
We were partners. What about you? Why'd you join the BSAA?
My parents were involved in an accident caused by a pharmaceutical company when I was young.
Umbrella?
Yes. I only found out later that the accident was to cover up the manufacturing of biological weapons for
So this is like the only backstory we get for Sheva, as far as I can really remember. As far as anything significant in any case.
Bioweapons were responsible for the deaths of my parents. And someone has to pay for that.
So you joined the BSAA?
There's only so much one person can do. Even a superhero like you, Chris.
I'm no superhero.
I don't know, Chris. I don't know. At the end of the game, we're gonna see some stuff that seems pretty superhero-y to me.
Our fallen brothers.
Not even like as in, oh, he's such a good guy. I mean like, what the hell? Why are you so strong? I feel like Chris is basically a meme at this point because he's just muscle. That's it. I don't know if there's even a brain or if it's just the muscles controlling all of his movements for their own motives. The Beast Slate. Wow, this guy, 2 spears? Wouldn't one do the job like extremely well? Such a tragedy. I guess. Tragedy is that he has 1 spear in his ass. It'd be horrible. I hope the other one killed him first. It's basically all it says is everyone dead. Alright. Now, this whole area, this chapter, I guess I should say, I think has a ton of treasure stuff in it. And this is also kind of the area where, like, the game drew some controversy. And, you know, I don't really need to spell it out. Plus, this game is, like, 11 years old. Finally figured it out. But, yeah, so, I mean, the game's in Africa. Play a white guy fighting a bunch of African guys. And then you go to a part of Africa that's just like native tribes people. And, yeah, so, really no surprise there why they got controversy. Alright, so this is an area where I actually, like, I'm gonna have to use the map because it's super, like, it can be confusing. It's actually a pretty large area. It's like one of the few sections of the game that are, like, quite open. The slate map? Oh, okay, it just tells us where we need to go. Okay, I see. So just go to all the points on the map that you were gonna go to anyway, essentially. Okay. So, I was trying to figure out some more stuff about this game, stuff I could point out that might be interesting, and I think the first thing I want to start out with is that Sheva really, supposedly according to this Resident Evil wiki, which I have no reason to assume it's not correct, but I don't know for sure, they said that Sheva never showed up again after this game. So, that's a long time. Like, that honestly shocks me. Not that, like, I think Sheva is, like... What the fuck is there? Oh, man. These fish drop treasure? No, they just die, I guess. Not that I think Sheva is, like, the greatest Resident Evil character in the world, but I think she's certainly a pretty good character, and it's quite strange to me that she only got in one game. I don't know. It's weird to me. Every time I go back to this game, I'm like, oh hey, it's Sheva, a pretty cool character that really didn't get a whole lot of backstory, essentially. I don't know, maybe that's the problem. I would be shocked if she didn't eventually show up. But, again, it's been over a decade, which is weird to think about. But I guess since then, there's only been 2 mainline, like main series Resident Evil games that have come out, with another one that should be coming out here relatively soon. So, although I don't think Sheva will be in that one. But it'd be cool, I don't know. This is not the first Capcom game where, like, they introduced a character, and I was like, hey, that character's kind of underrated and cool. And they're just like, yeah, we forgot about them. Let's deal with it. I don't know. Don't ask me. Oh, hey, we got a clipboard here. Can I actually read that? Wait. What? We're on chapter 3 of the game, which isn't, like, super far, but it's far. It's far enough. Like, that you should know how to do pretty much anything in the game at this point, like, of the major mechanics. And they're just introducing me to the feature of hand-to-hand combat. Man. Like, what if you started this game on, like, the veteran difficulty and somehow never figured that feature out? I don't know, I think it'd be, like, impossible to not figure that out. I've always found that weird. Like, why not just... I don't know. A lot of games introduce game mechanics in a way that's just really overt and stupid. Like, you know, although it's not so common now. You know, at one point you had a ton of games that would just start off and they'd be like, "Hey soldier, press the reload button or X to reload your weapon." That kind of shit was stupid. Like, I've been playing RE4 recently, like I said, and they do something sort of similar a couple times. It's not nearly as bad, but it's the same principle. And it's like, That's terrible, but also what's terrible is just like never introducing you until super late in the game. But like again, pretty much everyone would have to figure it out by this point. So all I can think is like, why even bother putting in a tutorial at this point? I don't know. Oh my god, I don't remember so many dudes attacking us this quickly. They're all infected. Yes, that is correct. I wish Chris's moveset had more like a lot of time he does his straight punch, which sure that's great for one enemy, but when there's multiple in a group it's pretty hard to hit several of them. Which like Leon for instance has a whole bunch of wacky kicks and stuff, so you hit a million people. Oh my gosh. Can you guys chill for 1 second while I get like a grenade or something? Come on. There we go. Oh my gosh, I killed a whole bunch of them. I have to get used to not pausing all the time again. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. I'm throwing another grenade. I don't know where I'd be without those grenades right now. Probably getting annihilated, honestly. Yeah, I don't think so, dude. Let's calm down for a second here. Alright, dude. Almost got them all here. I wonder if they're ever going to go back to Africa for a Resident Evil game. Because, well, let me think. I don't remember any coming back after this game, but then again, it'd be kind of weird if they did. I don't know. I feel like I kind of have to say that a lot with series that, like, I've played a lot of games in. I'm still just like, yeah, I don't really know what this game is or how it works. But I really like Africa as a general location. Obviously, some really weird choices with the, I don't know, the locales and the people you're fighting in this game. But then again, that's just kind of Resident Evil. They're just like, hey, what's some like weird esoteric enemy you can fight that people wouldn't probably expect if they're like a normal person. Let's just have them fight 100 of those a second. Alright, back to our speed racer boat. This thing is unbelievably fast. I forgot to mention that. It really loves to blur the hell out of the screen. I always kind of liked this section, but it is kind of strange. And it's also like a really long area.
Looks like we have to go this way.
Compared to other ones, or at least it feels that way. Okay, oh god, this area has some alligator crocodiles. I don't know which, one or the other, and they will just instant kill you. No holds barred out here. Okay, Sheva, don't die, please. Okay. It was actually easier than I remember it being. I remember a whole bunch of times of like being almost kind of stuck fighting the gators. But again, this is when I was like, gosh, I don't know, a kid, like in elementary school. Man, that's crazy to think that this game is that old. Actually looks pretty good, I think. Holds up pretty well gameplay wise. I mean, my gameplay skills don't hold up, but the game does. Oh my gosh. Sheva, it's all up to you. Finish the mission. Okay, here we go. Back in the saddle. Nope, just kidding. Sheva, come on, you gotta save those. I like how this dude does like weird Matrix stuff. I totally forgot these guys do that. Somehow it doesn't seem that weird when like the guys before were doing it. When they're dodging and stuff. I guess because they know handguns. But these guys just start doing straight up Neo maneuvers. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's so ridiculous. Okay, we got... How many slates? Like 3 already? Wow. Wow. Feels like we're just going straight through this kind of general chapter, but I think there are certain areas that we'll travel to with like that boat that are much more difficult to actually make your way through. They just have you holding off against guys. It's not a chapter of Resident Evil 5 if you don't have to stand off against a whole bunch of enemies for a while. Okay, Ala Croco, that was close. Ala Crocodilator. So as long as you can get out of those little tiny areas, pretty much fine. And also if Sheva can not get completely annihilated by them, which fortunately she's doing a pretty good job so far. What, like... I don't know. I've always wondered about these like hovercraft things. They seem like something that just isn't real. But I know they are. And I'm just like, how is this real? Sheva, why they're just chilling? I mean, yeah, they're not being cool, but they're chilling. It's a problem. I think I need to see one of these hovercrafts for myself one day. Seeing is believing and all. Like, I can see something like this working in the water, but like, I'm assuming they're made to at least partially work on land. Large question mark, extremely large with multiple question marks right next to it that are gradually getting smaller to indicate that my confusion is very great, but I don't want to continue the subject for fear of looking stupid. And the question marks just get small until they're the size of an atom. And then we split the atom. Yeah, I don't know where that was going. Anyway, I think this is the area I was talking about where it's like kind of more kind of stand off against ya boys. This is such what game is it recently that people were making? Oh yeah, the Tomb Raider games. They get a lot of shit. They got a lot of shit because you know, you're Lara Croft going into ancient tombs and all this shit, caves that no one's touched for sometimes like thousands of years. It's just like, yeah, here's a machine gun part. Pretty much the same thing here. These dudes are tribesmen. Why do they have these... Why am I breaking their vases and then getting handgun ammo from it? Well, I guess that would explain why I'm breaking them, but... Why? So many questions that are best left unanswered. And probably best left unasked. As soon as you start questioning why a video game is a video game, it all goes downhill from there. Excuse me, sir. Can you please? I'm like terrible with the crowd control in this game. I don't know why I remember myself being pretty good with it. It's weird to say that I actually feel like I'm a lot better at Resident Evil 4. Because, I don't know, I guess I just kind of imagined that game was harder. Which in some ways Resident Evil 4 is harder. I mean, I die a lot more in it. You do not have nearly as much health as you have in this game, that's for sure. Like, you die in like 2 or 3 hits in Resident Evil 4. There's actually a lot of healing options in that game, like there's all sorts of stuff, but nonetheless you die very quickly. Whereas in this game, like, you can actually take, like, well, I guess it depends on the enemy, but like these kind of guys, like, probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 hits, something like that. Man, this is just... This building has been turned into a kung fu tournament. Who can be punched by massive muscle man the most times and survive? What is that man doing over there? What? Yo, he's... Oh my god, he made it. And then Sheva shoots him! Sheva! That man is training for the Olympics over here. What the hell, Sheva? Although I will admit, that guy was struggling. I'm not sure the Olympics would be the best place for him. I'm just gonna have to shoot you in the foot for the rest of eternity. Oh, I can uppercut him through his shield with the spikes all over it. It's fine. Chris's rock hard muscles know no such thing as pain or damage. They only know how to kill. Nothing in between. Be afraid. Well, because this game is old enough as it is, and everyone who's played it has already played it, or who wants to play it has played it. There we go. That makes more sense. So for those who don't know, there's a scene later in Resident Evil 5 where Chris just punches a straight up boulder. Like, it is a boulder. There's no two ways about it. It's a massive boulder, and he just punches it into submission so that he can make a path. And that's basically what Resident Evil 5 is known for, to be honest. I mean, I can't really think of any other, like, moments in Resident Evil 5 that people kind of mention as that ridiculous funny moment. It's always just like, yeah, Chris the walking rock himself punches a boulder essentially to death. And, so as you can imagine, that's a bit of a meme. I only went through with that because I started stroking out with what I was saying. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that's pretty much what this game is known for, as far as I can remember. And I also looked up what people thought of this game back when it came out, because for some reason, for the longest time, I thought like it was kind of viewed with people just being like, yeah, it wasn't very good, it was mediocre at best, kind of bad. But it looks like generally people did actually like it. It looks like it was considered pretty good, and it was a pretty popular title. Although, of course, with RE4 coming before, and RE4 being like arguably one of, well, I don't know how to phrase it. I think I would say, like, what the heck was that? RE4 is kind of considered definitely a big difference maker in video games, and I mean, it's just always been very beloved. What else can you say about it? I guess that's what I'm getting at. RE4 is just one of those games where if you tried to compare a new game to it and be like, yeah, this new game's a lot better, people would probably be like, you're crazy, what's wrong with you? Of course, by now, I think it's gotten old enough that we can actually look at it and be like, yeah, these parts are really good, these parts are kind of stupid. But nonetheless, it was a very popular game. Oh, wait, we gotta go to the Chicken Island. And so, of course, with RE4 coming out and being so beloved for its time, and then RE5 coming out, obviously that's a lot to stand up to. But nonetheless, it seems like it was taken pretty well. I think what I didn't really understand is that, like, I think a lot of critics praised it for being less survival horror and more action-y. But the thing is, Resident Evil 4 is so, like, over-the-top action-y itself that I'm like, I don't think that's fair. I say this game has a bit more of the action element. I mean, this game is pretty much constant, just shooting and fighting a billion enemies at once. But man, RE4 has a lot of that. I'm guessing what it is that RE4 was better at moments where they put you in like a horror situation. You know, instead of being like constantly at all times survival horror, it kind of interchangeably went between pretty much just action, and then and then certain sections that at least, if nothing else, had a lot more of a survival horror aspect. Whereas this game, I think it does actually do that similarly, in my opinion. But I think it does them for shorter periods of time, and depending on your viewpoint, possibly less effectively when it does do them. So it just essentially the same game, except one does more survival horror. But I mean, really, it's hard for me to really say either of them is actually survival horror. I don't even know how to really define survival horror sometimes. Because as a kid, it was easy for me to say, like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to survive in this horror game. Ooh, this is spooky. Yeah, that's how I talked as a kid. And whereas today, just, I don't know, maybe it's just getting older or something. I have a hard time, like, getting into games is the way I once did. It's not that I dislike games more than I did when I was a kid. It's just that I've experienced so many video games that, I mean, no surprise, it's hard to recapture the same feelings of excitement and horror, in Resident Evil's case, and all that type of thing. So that part of it makes sense, I suppose. I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh, and because my personal feelings toward games has changed, it's like certain games like Silent Hill I still think fit the descriptor of survival horror. But I mean, gosh, even at this point, like Resident Evil 1, for instance, it's hard for me to say, like, wow, that was extremely survival horror. Well, I think I can still definitely call Resident Evil 1 survival horror, but it doesn't seem so survival based as I guess I once considered it. And like this game, I could see why somebody would just be like, yeah, that's really not survival horror. It makes sense. Let's see if we can, like, gosh dang, my inventory's whack. Let's eat one of these Eggies. And give Shiva the other one, because she probably needs it more than me, in honesty. And she also needs ammo. Okay, these dudes are coming to me whether I like it or not. So I guess just to make this whole confusing point a little bit clearer, what I'm getting at is just that I guess I need to, like, relearn what makes a survival horror game, I should say, if I didn't already say that, really actually have the survival aspect, because even though I still think the survival horror genre is great, and I think it hasn't stopped being great for the games that actually follow the format, I should say that, I don't know, I guess the horror aspect is certainly there. Just, I'm always like, it usually just feels like either horror or action horror. Survival horror seems to be in this really weird place, at least to me, right now. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me reading too far into it, and that's how it has always been. That, honestly, that's possible to me. I do wonder sometimes if, like, I've just lost track of what that definition means, and if it's always just been basically, yeah, that's pretty much what survival horror is. It's not really that survival-y. It's hard to tell. It's a genre that's been around for a while, and I don't know, I just wish it had more, I don't know, more presence, I suppose. I wish there was at least, like, one more big survival horror genre. that was like widely enjoyed. I guess I mean, I guess if Silent Hill was still around, that would kind of fulfill that for me to some degree, but nonetheless, hey dude, you don't need to be putting that ladder up. Which, you know, I don't know, maybe one day we'll see Silent Hill again. Since Silent Hill is currently, like, held in jail by Konami, I mean, that's another thing I wonder, like, are we ever gonna get those games back from Konami? Because I think most, I don't know, pessimists about the issue would basically just be like, yeah, no. But I don't know, I mean, I feel like today more than ever, there's less and less games that get trapped in, you know, who has the license, whether they want to make anything more, all that. I kind of feel like some of those restrictions kind of seem to be a little bit less bad as they might have once been, where, I mean, there are certain games and you know, series, franchises, what have you, that have just been gone for, like, quite a long time. But I feel like it's happening less. So, I don't know. I think Konami should just stop. But, you know, that's not exactly a unique opinion. Like, at all. Man, this inventory management on my part is rough. It's way too much stuff to pick up. I don't remember my difficulties with the inventory system ever being so significant. One thing oh my gosh. One thing I'm finding as I'm playing while talking is that sometimes the way I feel about a game is kind of different, because when you're alone, it's a lot easier to really think hard about a game. Think about what your best options are, what your moves are, think critically, but when you're talking, it's you know, even just talking to an audience that you can't see, it's kind of similar to, I think, playing a game with, like, a friend, in that you spend a bit less time thinking about specifics, or at least I certainly do. See, when I play alone, I think about games, like, pretty hard, and I have a much easier time just getting you know, enveloped in what's going on and what have you. But maybe just because of my inexperience talking to an audience, but it definitely feels of like a very different experience, and that I really, you know, you're juggling two things, and what that does is the game takes on a different feeling overall, because what is this man doing? Oh, he can still shoot. That's cool. But, you know, you it's harder to get distracted when you're just by yourself. You're just, the only thing that can distract you is influences within where you, oh my god, Sheva, are you for real? Why do I give Sheva things? It's a lot easier to get distracted when, you know, you're trying to really make sure that you're speaking about things that are interesting and important to be discussing, and that people are going to really care about. I mean, that's the bottom line, that people are going to actually want to hear what you're talking about. And I'm not saying I'm complaining about that. It's more just that I'm going to kill Sheva. That's what it's about. It's more just about the game taking on a different role, I guess. I mean, now you're juggling two things instead of just one. And to be more specific, what that means is things like my inventory management. They're terrible, and this is kind of just like a overly in-depth discussion about what I could just say. You know, I could just say I'm distracted, but I'm finding interesting how, like, normally I remember thinking of this game's inventory management as like kind of a challenge, like an actual challenge the game offers to you that could sometimes mess with me, but was normally not too bad. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is constantly getting in the way. So I guess it's kind of interesting to basically be forced into a new playstyle. It's very different. And I guess I kind of like it because being forced into a new playstyle makes you think about the game in a different way. Like for GTA 4, I played through most of GTA 4 by this point while recording. And normally in GTA 4, I like take my time and I do like every little, side quest, every mission. I like to do collectibles. I've always been someone who likes to do like 100% type thing. Shit. Oh shit. Oh no, Sheva, when I said I wanted to kill you, I wasn't serious. I thought she got on the little door thing, so she was fine. Oh shit. That's not good. Okay. Put that in the outtakes. Oh. Okay. That sucks. Well, now that'll destroy my train of thought. But so once I was recording GTA 4, it was like, okay, I know I want to do the missions, like a lot of them, because GTA 4 is like playing a Rockstar game, and by that I mean more like anything from the GTA or Red Dead series at this point, is kind of tough, because I feel like there's a reason that a lot of my favorite Let's Players avoid open world games, because first of all, they're like always made to be long. They're always made to be really long games and last a long time. That's part of the appeal of purchasing one of those games, is you think, okay, well, this is going to last me a while, and I'm going to have a lot of different things to do. But when you're playing in a full playthrough, you're thinking, I mean, how much do people want to see me, racing around random streets for like, a racing side story or whatever, what have you. How much do people really want to see me collecting everything in the game? Which I will place like a little caveat here. Of course, if you're like playing 100% run deliberately and you're letting people know as such, that's one thing. But if you're doing a normal playthrough, it's a bit different. And you kind of have to set it up a little differently. So, like in my GTA 4 playthrough, even though it's been a lot of fun, I'm realizing it's so tough to really play that in a normal way. I guess what you could do is just play through all of the main missions, and then when you're not doing a mission, maybe occasionally go for a little side thing here and there. And that's not necessarily unreasonable. But if you're wanting to do like a significant amount of the side stuff, it's going to significantly increase the length of the playthrough. And the thing is, maybe that wouldn't be so bad if you're somebody who plays the game, like you record like multiple hours a day. That wouldn't be too bad. But if you're recording 1 or 2, which is kind of what I tend to do, that means like that game would last a long time. That'd be like, I don't know, a lot of playing. So I want to read this really quick. So this is like, I remember it's this little girl. Well, I'll just read it. A man who said he was the foreman of the oil plant came to visit us today. He said he wants to inoculate everyone living near the oil field against some kind of disease. Man, that would suck to live next to an oil field when you're like a tribesman in the swamp? Well, I guess if you don't know anything else, but whatever. In my parents' generation, they tricked our people and stole the land to turn it into their oil field. They must feel guilty about that because they're always trying to help our village now. Wow, that's not concerning. When we couldn't get across the swamp, they built a gondola on a rope for us. How nice. Sometimes they'll even give us alcohol from foreign countries. This medicine is probably something like that. What, like horrible for you? Yeah, I guess so. Everyone in our village is glad to receive this medicine, but I don't want it. I don't have a reason for not getting it. I just didn't like the way the foreman looks, that's all. That's probably a smart girl. That's some instincts, tell you what. That's not even like... that. You don't even have to have a smart brain to do that. That's just your gut being like, this shit ain't no good, yo. Everyone went to the oil field to get this inoculation. The village is usually never this quiet. The only thing to do today is sleep. I slept too much during the day, so I couldn't sleep at night, and it was noisy outside. Everyone was talking with serious voices in the middle of the village. All of the children in the village had come down with a fever. The mothers all drew water to cool their bodies, but it didn't help. By the next morning, they were all dead. In the morning, our leader went to the oil field. He wanted to know if the medicine they were given killed the children. Probably. When he came back to the village, he said the children died because they had the disease. He told everyone that they needed... Wait. What, all the kids got it? I guess that would be possible, but still. He told everyone that they needed to go back for more shots. Is this the foreman or that elder? I didn't want to, but everyone in the village was worried about catching the disease. They forced me to go with him and get the shots. So are they talking about... I guess they're talking about the leader. Man, that sucks. People are fighting in the village. All the men are angry. I guess it's because everyone died. But it's probably something else, I think. The women just sit around and don't move. I wonder if the disease is spreading. Something like that. I couldn't sit still today. It felt like something was moving around inside me. That's disgusting and horrifying. Outside, I saw a man who looked strange. He was naked and had a weapon. His entire body was covered in war paint. It wasn't even a festival day. So, okay, this is one of the parts of the game that's just weird. So the implication here is that normally these tribespeople aren't doing this weird shit with their spears and war paint. And I don't understand. Why is it like... What, so they get the shots, which obviously are turning them crazy. So they cover themselves in war... What? I tried to talk to him, but when he turned around, I saw his face. He didn't even look human. What is happening to people in my village? The screaming has not stopped since yesterday. The men are all dressing like our ancestors and fighting each other. Most of the women have died. Head hurts, fever, feel angry. Saw a big man outside window, very tall. Must be vision. Feel good. Scream stop. Looks fun. Want to. Kill. Okay. Well, that was an interesting note, shall we say. But yeah, that note is quite reminiscent of a note I've seen in multiple other games. I think Fable 2 has a note like that. I remember when I read that as a kid, I was like, that's pretty much the most horrifying thing I've ever read in my whole life. Alright. Let's see. Here we got our gondola. Wow, this thing is nice. Man, they even got like a zebra rug on it. They know what they're doing. Alright, let's see. Oh, A-Rank. Man. I will tell you right now that 37 minutes, I think I normally am like way slower on this part because I like to look for like every treasure that exists in the known universe. But hey, what the heck?